Okay, so today I had a class, and it's kind of what really made me want to start this video and record. I wasn't planning on it, but I feel like I really need to give my opinion and just share it out there and not like into the void or whoever. It's like, am I really? I feel like I'm like the only one like this, and it's like, to give context, I had a class today, and most of it was just about how we had a long article that we had to read, and our professor wanted us to kind of read it and give points about the information, but after inputting it into ChatGPT for it to summarize first. And as being someone who's anti-AI, I asked later, like, is there an alternative to the assignment and submission, as they wanted us to do that? And I said I was anti-AI, anti-generative AI especially. And then it was so ridiculous what they said. Like, they mentioned how what they were doing, copying the text and inputting it and asking it to answer some questions, wasn't generative AI. And I saw another classmate, since it was a Zoom call, like nodding, like in agreement. And I'm just thinking, what? Cause like, what? And then later on, when another classmate asked for help regarding how to do the assignment, they were mentioning, oh, like, yeah, some people, it's controversial because some people like don't understand it or are scared of it. And it's like, girl, you don't understand it. Why are you gonna talk this nonsense and kind of talk down about other people, especially as a teacher, about them not understanding AI when they have a fundamental misunderstanding of generative AI and ChatGPT? I was like flabbergasted, because how can you say it's not when it is? And they were kind of trying to explain it as something else. I'm like, what are you talking about, in my head? And I so badly wanted to like, and I probably should have, I kind of wanted to now. I regret not saying anything, but I really wanted to like point out how that's wrong. And it kind of just goes against the entire, like, I don't know if ethos is the correct word, but the whole like process and concept of our education, especially at the school, this spouting, how we as teachers can help and address systemic injustices and uplift our communities. Yet here we are engaging in this system which is actively harming our community and environment, disproportionately so, towards lower class and people of color. And it's like, what is, like, are they not connecting these thoughts? And it's like, what is going on? It's so ridiculous. And like, they all say, like, all my professors are like incentivizing the use of AI, and they all say the same thing. They all say it's such a good tool. And it's like, God forbid you gotta have a slight inconvenience, because like the examples that the professor, the one in today's class, was using of how AI can be such a great tool, ChatGPT specifically, is how it could reduce the amount of time you spend reading text and needing to sift or filter through unneeded text for, like, in case you're like writing an essay and need to gather resources. And it's so like, amount you need to use generative AI to do that, when you could just read the abstract, because that's what our resources are going to look like. The abstracts being this paragraph at the beginning of like the text summarizing what the text is about. So you can't do that to quickly acknowledge if this writing is for you, for your needs. It's like, no, you got to use this generative AI to do it for you. And it's like, why? I realized this right before I started recording. Like, I was about to say, like, oh, it's like they're being paid to say this, as this reiterating like the similar stuff, and And it's funny because they kind of are, given the institution we are at, which is Dominguez Hills, California State University, has started investing in generative AI. Like every account now, the school account the school is paying for them to have a Chat GPT account, and it's like, what the heck? And it's also like established on system or something. I don't exactly remember. I have to check up on that to like verify. But it's like, why? Like, because this also like takes away funding from other things which are way more beneficial, such as teacher pay, something that we all love to talk about as a topic as future educators in public education, is pay. And like we all think, we deserve more, yet here we are being okay with generative AI being added into the institution of our schools. And it's like, what the heck? And it's so funny because they see it as a tool. Again, they're busy, and so it makes a lot of sense. But it's like, it's so hypocritical when they talk about how it can be useful and integrated into the classroom, when they all hate the idea of phones and technology like that. It's like, that's such a hard topic for them to accept. Whereas generative AI, since it's having a positive impact on their life directly as they're getting the use out of it, they're like, it's cool. But since a student is using a phone and not paying attention to what you're saying, it becomes an issue for that. But like, it's okay now because it's even worse now because of the ways. It's so funny because the professor said like, oh, it's okay because it's not like it's being used to replace our own thinking and creative thoughts. And like, as future educators, we gotta consider that because kids are currently using generative AI to like substitute critical thinking for themselves, as why work harder for themselves. You're not saying this for everybody who uses it, all the students and people, but it's for sure. Like, I have classmates in college consistently using it, and it's like oh my gosh, like in class as well, and it's mind-boggling. Like, wow, like I hate it, and like I feel like I'm so alone in this opinion. It's like everyone, whenever the topic comes up, people are like, they're like, for AI, they all use it and all spouting its usefulness, and it's like, and I'm just like sitting there, and I'm gonna begin. I know I should have started way before, but I'm gonna begin like actually going against it. It's like talking by sharing my opinion about it whenever it does come up like that, because I think of way more useful than me just staying quiet. And obviously that doesn't help. It's, oh my god, staying quiet. And it's kind of connected like to another thought of mine, because like earlier my little brother got a paper talking about what we can do for him for upcoming stuff in the class, and one of this thing was like talking about the topics with our family, such as what they're going to be talking about upcoming, like dentists and health of teeth, and so they want us to talk about that, and also while doing brushing teeth and stuff, and dentists and the uses of that, and then in small text to like beside it, it's talking about how in the future they're also going to be talking about police and firefighters, and how they want us to start associating those words and telling children and family about how we should be associating those people with things like protect, help, community. And it's like, hold up, that's just false, as we were saying like every week with police not being helpful, not being part of our community, except actively harming it. And it's like, well, and it brought me back to an earlier thought I had when something else happened about how like there's an opinion about teachers not having a stance, them being objective, them being like a centralist within the classroom. And I hate that. I don't agree with that whatsoever. because like us doing nothing is actively assisting is actively like assisting in the perpetual state of being victims of systemic issues such as and I'm sound dumb taking a second to think about it, but like well, if I gotta think about what I just said, because us not giving opinion, us not having a stance, but instead being central and like not giving an opinion on things is assisting in the continuing oppression of our communities as we are pushing the agendas of what our government is wanting us to say. As we, as public educators, are the voices of their wants, given they write the curriculums, they decide what we should teach, and like the values in which in all that. And it's such as the example that I got earlier of trying to categorize police officers as protectors, as friends, as helpful individuals, instead of them being an extension of slavery, historically speaking, and how they're meant to oppress and keep us oppressed. And it also just ignores all the stuff that's happening in our current history. Like, how are you gonna say they are like this when we've been having ICE raids, when we've been having police brutality? Like, I don't think we as teachers can be central and objective entirely, as doing so, like I said, favors a side. It is perpetuating the ideas of our broken fascists, not even brilliant, but just fascists, and like government. And it's like and it makes me think like maybe a lot of these teachers, future teachers that I'm sharing these classes with, are just not that, they don't think too much about it. And it's kind of, and my professors as well, I'm just thinking this now, as they're not, how are they not making these connections? How am I making them as a student of theirs? And so they're teaching me how to think like this, how to make these connections, yet they're not able to do it with AI, with the topics they're teaching. And it's like, what the heck? I get it. Like, it's kind of tough because you're in that position of possibly putting your job at stake. But it's like, it's just like, are we going to practice what we preach? Like, it's kind of ridiculous. And I've started thinking, like, how is my experience with public education going to fold out in the future, given how I am quite opinionated about how it's ran. And I am unsure. It's very... I will have to see, like... And I hope we recorded. Let me check again. Okay. Imagine if I wasn't. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just really need to get my thoughts out about AI, because fuck AI, fuck generative AI, like the heck, especially these large systems of it, which are like you needing so much energy to like fuel it and also to cool it, to keep it running and sustaining, as it needs something to do that, as these take up physical spaces and not just a magical thing up in the clouds, you know? You know, to a degree, I can't... I'm saying this now, but let me see. I don't know if this is my opinion forever, but like, I can't blame them too much because of the way it's been framed, and such as like association with clouds, with being something other elsewhere and not really physical. But it's also like you had these shows, you're saying it's there for benefit. So it's coming back to like the critical thinking aspect, and of course public education. Like I said, do they want us to think? This is a toaster, not a class. Let me like emphasize that. And like, it's so like it stands out so much because like, I'm kind of just reiterating everything I said already, but it's like it's coming from these people, these educators and teachers, who are, you can tell they do care about trying to uplift and assist and provide equity. I feel like it kind of stops to a certain degree and doesn't reach for liberation. Like, and like if I'm gonna be spending another year here for my credential program, which I'm currently applying, it's like, am I gonna have to go through a whole year, potentially more, of hearing the same stuff about how we should be using AI, how it's a useful tool? And it's like, and it's like, and I feel like because of its usefulness for certain people as a time saver and convenience thing, it's so like less people really speaking up about it than I feel like otherwise would about other topics such as ICE, as they've been on campus before and our school has done nothing, such as our shitty fucking president of whoever, Parnham or whatever his name is, like. And I'm seeing this like the sustainability club. Like I haven't really checked up on their stance and positioning with it all, as my schedule like has really made it difficult, if not impossible, for me to engage with them, as much as I really want to. Well, I'm just very curious if they're taking this, if they're like talking about it at all, because like they have to, right? Like, because just today they set up an exhibit presentation thing of where they usually have like a table, a booth for them set up and stuff, and today they had it basically emptied, with nothing there except a frame and a paper with text, and it mentioning how that space in which it's showing is kind of like the average amount a person takes for like not energy use, but like carbon makeup. I can't remember 100%, but it's something like that. And I'm thinking like, okay, will they do this? Have they done this for generative AI? As this semester, like I said, they've integrated it into our curriculum, or not into our tuition, basically. And it's like, huh? And then they had a survey. It's posted up in the front page of Canvas. As soon as we open it in our dashboard, it's to take a AI survey, and the questions of it that it asks, because I shared my opinion about it. Oh yeah, generative AI in there as well, and like they're so for AI, and like obviously they're fucking getting funded for it, and it's like they want to push for it, but it's like you can tell that they have a bias towards it with the questions they're asking. And then thinking the same way my professor thought in this class, that it's just you might be skeptical of it because of your lack of knowledge for it. But I would argue that it is our knowledge of it, which makes us skeptical and not want it. And I think that is something that these people aren't considering. And if they are, they just don't care because it's benefiting them. You know, my homies hate generative AI. And yeah. Okay, I think, let me see if there's anything else I want to say. If there's anything I forgot, I probably did forget something. But when do I not, you know? No, I was just kind of doodling. I didn't really have a plan on what like this thing is. Definitely not a cop. Ew. Also, I've been kind of like, ever since I like watched a documentary about them and kind of wrote a paper about it like long ago, like a couple years back when I first started college, I've been kind of wanting people, like, not people, but like, I guess, yeah, people, but like essayists or like just people such as like FD Signifier or somebody to talk about the figure Dick Gregory or Richard Claxton Gregory. And I'm just kind of like, I want to hear other opinions and informed thoughts about them, as you know, they were not only an activist, but like one who was there for the civil rights movement alongside people like Martin Luther King, but lived through it and had influence in different ways throughout their life. And so I'm just kind of curious, especially because at the time I watched that documentary, I was very uninformed and new to a lot of the stuff. And so I'm kind of curious with like a new perspective on things, if how my opinion would kind of be. And of course I could just go back and watch it and read about him so I can gauge that for myself. But I think this exchange of information from people to people is healthy and nice, you know, sometimes, and to help gain a different perspective on things and to see if there's things I've missed or could miss because of that. And yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that assignment anyways. Like, they said I could read the article and reflect about it, whatever. I just feel lazy as fuck now. I felt discouraged with engaging with that class, alongside a lot of these other classes. Like, it takes away the credibility of these professors and my classmates. It's like, why should I listen to what you're saying if you're hypocritical? You know, you're going against the things you're saying, your values that you supposedly have. Like, I hate it. It's funny, I made a joke, like, what if I just drop out? But like, nah. I'm gonna do my own thing. Speaking of, that movie is so good. I would talk about Across the Spider-Verse. Should I talk about it now or in another video? Do I want to collect my thoughts to prepare, or... You know, I could talk about it now. Fuck it. So it's funny. I rewatched Across the Spider-Verse for the second time recently. It's like a couple weeks. Wait, sorry, give me a moment. Hope you didn't hear that. Probably did. So yeah, I watched it again for the second time a couple weeks, and while I was watching, I was kind of thinking about it more and making connections. And wow, I know there's like a joke and meme going on currently about like Spider-Verse fans like analyzing the heck out of it, and like it being like extra nerdy and stuff, and that's kind of annoying as well because it's taking away analysis, like you're just disregarding it as like you're doing too much type of thing, which is not good in my opinion. What's it called? But like, yeah, I'm in that camp of having opinions and analysis. Actually, let me get my phone because I remember I made an Instagram post about this, about the movie, right after I watched it, and I was making connections. Let's see what I wrote. Pull it up. Might take me a moment. Okay, I found it. Okay, so for the first, like I wrote a little bit of it. So I said, one of the points I wrote was the whole intervention scene reflecting. Okay, so the scene where Miles meets Miguel, and how that kind of leads up to everyone surrounding Miles, and caging him, and it becoming a whole argument in the start of that. And I kind of talked about how that kind of reflects the experience in the ways people of color has been treated in our society, such as like when like black people have rose up, became, it was like but have like been against systems of power that are oppressing, systems of oppression, there you go, such as police, such as the systemic systems, yeah, fucking government, they, and how when they are, how people of color are intelligent, well spoken. I hate well spoken as a term because like what the fuck does that mean? They kind of like perceived as threats, and how that combination with a radical position, which is going against the status quo, being the dominant culture, it has like led to things such as assassinations, like at Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, fucking leaders in other countries in which we as in the U.S. government interfered and intercepted, replacing them with another person to push U.S. what's it called, like colonialism, and in the process, I don't know if denigrating is the right word, that just came to mind. The people in said communities and countries, and the opinions held about it, such as the way we should be approaching activism. That should be done peacefully, like that, and how something like that is being done to upkeep the status quo, as taking a more peaceful route has often been shown to not only do as much as when there was action, look at Haiti, and look how the U.S. has treated and also the two different Morales, obviously the one we became familiar with, as well as the one at the end, the Prowler Mouse, kind of doing like a little bit of commentary about the way our circumstances shape our lives, and how being in a less well-off situation can leave people such as Prowler Mouse with less of a choice, and leading them to do or engage in things that we criminalize, and I say weird again, like the U.S. and society in some ways. And then, like, on the other hand, someone like the Mouse, who was in a more well-off position, as explained by his parents in the beginning of the movie when they were having that parent-teacher conference. And him, obviously, in the very context of it, him getting the spider bite, leading him to like have a bit more choice, although still limited because of factors such as society trying to upkeep the status quo, i.e., Miguel O'Hara. Like, I had to watch how he said his name, but yeah, like him, he being that the symbol of the status quo and trying to upkeep it, as Miguel's trying to keep the canon, which is the status quo, and it's kind of reflecting how our society is trying to keep that status quo, and Miguel being said activist trying to call out the flaws within it, and how, like, when you have the resources and the abilities to help everyone, why aren't you doing that? Because you can possibly disrupt the status quo, that status quo being different positions of power in that one, the dominant culture. Miguel is able to keep his, let's see, it's a bit of a reach with these characters, and when you look at them as in the demographics, it's kind of like, why would Miguel want we doing this? Why would they be representative of the dominant culture, which is white? But there's some like stretches, but like, yeah. Also, it's funny. I was thinking about, I was like, could the Go Home machine kind of be like the idea of deportation? It's taking like quote unquote aliens who are anomalies in the movie, and because of that status and label as such, they are seen as threats to the Spider-Verse, and so that therefore like, and like what's it called, the label of anomalies, the alien, also being similar to that of a migrant in definition, and how it is, they're being sent off back to their homes, quote unquote, and this is being decided by people in power, that being the Spanish society and Miguel. Because like, they are living and exercising being in other universes. And also, Miguel was not right in any shape and form in that movie. Like, people try to argue that, I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm joking, and like, to a certain degree, but like, I'm also not. Because, like, in what way is he right? I don't see it. Miguel is an anomaly himself, and it's like such shit. Like. And also, like, I don't know if I said this already, but, like, the status quo thing. Like, Miguel asking Miles, if, like, after Miles calls it, like, why should he be listening to, like, an algorithm? And Miguel saying, like, do you want to find out what happens? And it's kind of like, yeah, I want to find out what happens. Because, like, your evidence to support is, like, 1, maybe 2. Like, examples, like, is yours, Miguel's example, and like that's not really sufficient enough, and like a lot, and like in just like in disregard to everything else I'm saying, and just kind of like that's not really that much to go off of. Like, how do you know it's not anything else? Maybe I missed the point, maybe of there being boy examples, but that was like the only one I've like heard them mention. So it's like, what the heck? I definitely have more thoughts about the movie and like connections I made. I just can't remember them right now. Oh my gosh! Also, like Gwen and it being the whole. It's basically like a Gwen movie, and like with how much she takes up the center of the film, and like her being like the whole like trans allegory. So cool, and how like the dad and him being accepting of Gwen only after he put down the badge, after he stopped being a cop, shows how the system itself of police can't like isn't like possible, like how like being a cop goes exact opposite to supporting, and I love that they showed that, you know, he gave up the badge. He's not being a cop, you know, like you know what I mean, right? But yeah, God, I love that movie. That's definitely Across the Spideyverse has become one of my favorite movies for sure. Like not even just recent time, but like in all time. And another movie which kind of touches upon certain topics and themes, Transformers 1. Oh my gosh, that shit is good as well. I don't like it as much as Across the Spideyverse, but goddamn, fucking, whew. I only watched that one once, and I was in theaters. After I heard that it was pretty good, it's and like Transformers 1 guy did help in that decision to watch. But like, damn, fucking Megatron, like I forget his name, the voice actor. He's like him in the scene, like talking to Iacon, the people of it, them sounding like Kratos. This is like so true. They did a fantastic job. Like wow. You know what's funny? I just watched a video today by FD Signify about villains and black villains in movies, and I kind of wish he touched upon Megatron, because obviously the voice actor, but also just the experience in which, you know, they go through is very much reflective of the black experience. And I'm kind of like trying to now think about Megatron as a villain, and in that context, because obviously in some ways you could kind of see him in a Killmonger type of light, being right about him trying to. I'm sorry, like I'm making these connections on the spot, and so it's like I'm just thinking. But often, like their methods of trying to fulfill their wants being done through through more action. You know, I think this is something they mentioned before. They mentioned in the video about how like T'Challa didn't really do shit in Black Panther, the movie, MCU, and the one who's doing all the action to try and fight for a better, against oppression for the people of color, particularly black people, is Killmonger, and how like this is kind of like not as comparable as Orion or Optimus did take action, obviously, but originally, he wanted to expose Sentinel, to do it through that process. But D16 Megatron was wanted that smoke, for lack of a better word right now. Like he wanted it to do it more so directly by getting rid of the system which has oppressed, instead of trying to work within it. And I kind of agree in some ways, because like how can we, like police officers, they fundamentally and systematically are systems of oppression. How can we make them less so, as that's what they are, as that, like, yeah, as simple as that. And so it's interesting. And also I kind of just like he did mention an animated movie being Princess and the Frog. I kind of wish he did some more, but maybe it's just not area of interest. That's what Generative Tweak is for. And Man of 1,000 Thoughts and others. Although I don't think they make as big a connection societally, more so just I don't know, I haven't watched enough. But I am subscribed to Tweak. Bumblebee, I could not stop hearing, was it Keegan-Michael Key's voice? I just heard him the entire time Bumblebee spoke. And it's like, it really did not help. And like, it wasn't as bad for Orion. I can hear Chris Hemsworth. But it was pretty cool. Like near the end. Well, he was kind of like trying more to sound like, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name, as original Optimus. And it's like, that's cool. You're at least trying. But standout was definitely Megatron. Like, oh my gosh. I feel like he should talk about it as well. Even though indirectly are not black. Megatron's black in that movie for sure. Yeah. I definitely have more opinions about this stuff, and so I would love to talk about it more, and I probably will in like other videos. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, wish me luck with this dang school and my fucking education. Ugh. See how it goes. Oh wait, you know what's cool? In my art class today, I complimented a classmate's art project that we're all currently working on our own, and then they explained how like they're doing like a crystal thing and how it's developing on like a spine of wood, and I wanted to ask them, but I didn't get the opportunity to. If it's kind of like a commentary upon how we perceive and get access to our minerals, as the topic, the prompt of our project is like abstract formation depictions of minerals, although it's not really that as the professor wants less abstract and more just direct. Just make a mineral with wood. And I wanted to ask her like if it was a commentary upon like the way we access and how it's how we get our minerals largely through mining, and how that is done through like things like backbreaking labor in places like Congo, the Dominican Republic of Congo. I really want to ask because I know that I'm pretty sure that they might be closer in opinion with political stuff as me, as I've seen them wearing attire and supporting Palestine, because free Palestine, and today they were wearing a keffiyeh, and so I wanted to ask that. Maybe I'll wear next time. We'll see how it goes. And usually instead of a keffiyeh, I wear a karama, which is a Khmer scarf. It's kind of a symbol Cambodia and Khmer Rouge, their own experience with genocide, and so wearing mine as a symbol of being against it. And also fascism. I can't believe. Right. Is episode over? Okay, episode over. Hope y'all enjoyed and can, I don't know,